everybody. This is Tasha with Prep For It. I'm double checking to make sure my internet's off on my phone because my internet is really being lousy lately. Anyway, so we are here. No, my computer didn't crash. I ended up getting phone calls last minute from my husband who knows I'm going live and from my son. And oh my gosh, it's like, come on, people. I've got stuff to do. My audience awaits.
And when the husband calls, we answer the phone. That's just how life is. They answer,
Right. Yeah, because you never know. Just got to do what we got to do.
Yep.
So today we're making elderberry syrup. The whole process actually takes close to 2 hours, but we're gonna, towards the end of this, I'm just gonna say, pretend like I steeped this for such and such amount of time, okay? But you'll at least get the instructions and all of that. So for my equipment, I have whatever size pot you need to heat all of this stuff up in. I have something to stir with. I have a masher to mash the elderberries down with to get out all that goodness. I have a bowl with a strainer that's lined with cheesecloth because you don't want any of those seeds in there. And then I have 2 cups of water. I have a cup of elderberries. You can do dried or you can do fresh. I have some orange peel that's dried that I'm going to add to this. I have a cinnamon stick broken too. I have some little cloves here. And you can either do fresh ginger, dried ginger, or I have some candy ginger here I thought would be kind of good in this. So those are the ingredients that I'm going to use. I also have a sterilized mason jar in the back with my canning funnel.
Top.
So basically, that is it.
Can we present you, Tasha?
Pardon?
Can we put you on present?
Oh, yeah. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Hi, everybody.
I don't think she knows she's muted. Now she knows.
Okay, was I muted whenever I was telling the ingredients and everything?
No, we heard you for the ingredients. Then I said, can you put yourself on present, so we can see what you're doing?
That's weird. Let me know if I'm mute again, please, because I did not do that. I didn't push the button. Something was weird.
But it didn't present you. So I think maybe you hit mute and not present.
I may have. I'm terribly wonderful at that,
It's that kind of day today. Listen, it's rough. Yep. See, Kaylin. Hey, Kaylin. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Kaylin.
Knows that you muted. Yeah, so you're still not. There you are. Now you're on present. Now we're cooking with gas.
All right. Yeah, there's a delay here, probably about 10 seconds. So that might be why. So if it looks like we're interrupting each other, we're not. Okay?
Right.
So I'll get this started and then I'll go over like some of the nutritional value and things like that of elderberry and the other ingredients that I put in. I'm not going to tell you the health benefits of these things. You can go and look it up yourself because I am not going to be giving medical advice today, okay? But okay, so in your pot, you're just basically going to add your 2 cups of water. Of course, you can double, triple, quadruple this, whatever you want to do. 1 cup of elderberry. And I have a cinnamon stick that I broke in half. I have about 5 little clove here, 4 or 5 clove. And then I have 1 good sized chunk of candied ginger that I've broken into pieces. And that is what is going in here. And I'm going to turn this up. Don't forget my orange peel. So I'm just going to do a few shakes. So it's probably about maybe a half teaspoon of orange peel. Well, probably 1/4 teaspoon. All right. So I'm going to turn this on. and get this going. So far, not too hard, is it, y'all?
No, it's great.
Okay. So while that's warming up, now what we're going to do is we're combining the water, herbs, and berries, and we're going to bring it to a boil. Okay, and then we're going to reduce the heat and simmer for 30 to 40 minutes. Now, if you have a much larger batch, you may want to do it for a longer period of time. And this measure is a 3/4 cup, but this is my honey that I'm going to add later, but I don't have it. I have it 2/3 full. So it's half a cup of honey. And this is raw unfiltered honey, y'all. And okay, so if you are if you're wanting to give this to children under 1 year of age, you need to use something like agave syrup or maple syrup instead. Because there is a chance of a child of that age getting a botulism.
From
it
honey.
does happen, so it's better to be safe. Now, I'm wanting this to be shelf stable. I'm going to bring me off for present now until we're needed for that other part again.
And do you have to have a sweetener in it, Tasha?
You don't have to, but it's gonna. I mean, elderberry is kind of bitter in flavor if you don't have a sweetener. So it's gonna be real hard to get a lot of people to take it if it doesn't have a sweetener. So it's better to have a sweetener. Hey, everybody that just came in, thank you for coming. Okay, but yeah, so that's the thing. Now, because I'm wanting to make this, if I want to make this shelf stable, I can do one of two things. I can use regular sugar, and I can end up canning it, water bath canning it for 10 minutes at the end of this. If I don't want, or I can use an alcohol like a brandy or a vodka and do a half a cup of that in here at the end of this and store it safely on the shelf. Otherwise, you're going to want to refrigerate this, okay? I'm choosing not to add the vodka today. I'm going to put it in my refrigerator, but a vodka or a brandy going in this would be really good. Plus, that's kind of soothing when your throat's irritated and stuff like that,
Yes.
during those winter months. But okay, I chose the ingredients I chose for this for their purposes. First of all, most of the time when you're taking elderberry syrup, it's going to be in the fall and the winter. They have warming properties, okay? And then also, if you look at it, the elderberries contain antioxidants, vitamin C, dietary fiber, phenolic acids, which is a dietary phytochemical that absorbs through the intestinal wall, flavonols, and anthocyanins. Okay, ANTHOCYANINS. You can look up the health benefits of those. Okay, people, I'm not going to do that and get myself in trouble here.
We're not going to. We don't play medical doctors, nurses, or professionals on YouTube.
That's right. That's right. I love y'all who want to stick around on here for a while. Okay, so I'm just not going to do it. Even though there's been a ton of research and I should be able to have the freedom to say those things, I'm not going to do it. Okay, nope. Clove has antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, minerals, manganese, and vitamin K. All right, it's just starting to come to a boil, but when I stir, it's not staying boiling, so I'm going to let it just boil. When it comes to a rolling boil where it can't be stirred down, then I'm going to turn it down and simmer for 30 to 40 minutes. And I'll set a timer. I'll probably do 40 minutes, and I'll set a timer on my phone, okay? Let me give this just a little bit longer. It's almost there. Now, if you are adding sugar, I think you could go ahead and add the sugar now, if you're doing sugar instead. And if you're just using the honey as a sweetener and you're not using for the benefits of raw unfiltered honey, then you could go ahead and add your honey in here. All right, it's come to a good rolling boil. I'm going to turn this down, and I'm going to let this simmer for about 40 minutes. So let me hit my timer real quick, and then we'll continue our discussion.
It's pretty cool that they were your own berries, because I've never made it, and I've never, if I've seen elderberries, I certainly never picked them. And it's so cool that you have them. I really like that video.
Oh, and they were so beautiful. They've been so beautiful too. I'm just so happy. And I still have some more out on the tree, so I'm going to go get those later. But they weren't ripe yet. That's one thing. You do not want to process the green berries. If you have a few when you're picking, that's not going to hurt anything. But you want to get all the stems and all of that, the branches and all of that out of your mixture before you put it in here, because those can become toxic
Oh,
to you. So you want to just use the berries, and it's better not to use the berries raw. You need to cook the berries. Okay. Okay. So clove has antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, minerals like manganese and vitamin K. The ginger has gingerol, lipids, vitamin C, magnesium, terpenes. So those are all health benefits. I know orange peel has D-limonene in it, and other things like that. So you can look up the health benefits of each of these ingredients and understand more why I chose these ingredients. Plus, they add a lot of flavor and warmth. Nothing, like when you don't feel good, you're starting to feel like you're under the weather or something, you can use this, and it just gives you that warm feeling from the ginger and the clove and everything. Hi, Cadwin. Hi, Bug Dude. Threads and Jars. Aid. Fishes. Good to see y'all. I don't know who else is out there. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I will say hi in a moment. So yeah, this is already turning a deep purple, which I love. Love, love, love. Elderberry, they're pretty cool. All right, so that's why I chose the ingredients I did. Now you can actually use this just as a syrup, like on pancakes, like as a food. Okay, so you can put it on pancakes, you can put it on waffles, whatever, bagels, whatever you want to do. Okay, or you can just take it as a syrup daily. But it tastes good enough. Most kids like it, and they can at least be getting those antioxidants and stuff to help their body do what it needs to do in the fall and winter months. So I think it's pretty cool.
The first time I bought it, I didn't know that it was so, that we buy it like Sambucol or something at the drugstore. I just thought it was showing the purple of a berry. And then when I opened it, I was like, oh my God, it's really purple.
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah. Now, on my berries, the way I prepare my berries is once you pick them, you rinse them. And I would suggest, if you're not going to make your syrup right away, that you go ahead after you rinse them off thoroughly and pick any of the little stems out and stuff, that you go ahead and bag those up, kind of pat them dry a little bit with paper towel or something, bag them up and freeze them. Just go ahead and freeze them, because you can throw these in frozen and they're still going to do just fine in this. Okay. So that's what I would recommend. They freeze really easily, or you can dry them. You can dehydrate them and dry them and then use them later as well. So those are the two best options for it.
I'm glad you pointed out to remove the stems, because I always think if I'm going to run something through cheesecloth, right, like you're going to be doing in a sieve, sometimes some will say it's not necessary, but I'm glad you pointed that out, because if they're to do
the stems can be poisonous. So if there's a lot in there, now if you have just a few little bits in there, that's okay. But what you don't want is a large amount of stems in there where you're leaching out a bunch of those chemicals into your syrups.
Gotcha. Oh, Eddie Anir had a type of gin made out of elderberries. Get out of town.
People make elderberry wine also and say it's very good. So
a lot of people last year in 2020 did is it a tablespoon of elderberry syrup? a day that a lot of people did. It was very hard to find the syrup online
Yeah.
or in drugstores. So is it one
Yeah.
tablespoon maybe for an adult or a teaspoon or something for kids?
Yeah. Like whenever I'm feeling down and I feel like my body's needing more antioxidants, like maybe it's trying to fight off something, those antioxidants are good to help boost your body to do what it needs to do. So I whenever I'm feeling like I'm coming down with something, I will take that like a tablespoon every few hours a lot of times, just to kind of help keep those antioxidants going in my body. And it is good. Yes, it is very good. So yeah, it's really simple. It's so easy. Now it takes 2 hours normally. We're just going to do this for an hour, but you know, I'm not going to do the steeping process basically, but we're just going to pretend like I did towards the end. But yeah, it's really that simple. Just it's a dump recipe basically. The only thing you don't add in right away is your honey. You wait until your liquid cools down a little bit before you add your honey, and also your alcohol, because you don't want the alcohol to burn off in the heat. So you want your liquid to cool down some, and then add your alcohol. And that way, if you want to have it for shelf stable, you can. Now, it's not going to be as good for a syrup like kids might not like it as well, you know, but you could. That's why you can just store it in the fridge. Just freeze your elderberries or have them dehydrated and just make up little batches as you need it. It really doesn't take long. So why not just make it up as you need it? And that way your elderberries, if you keep them in the freezer, they're going to be just like fresh as the day you picked them. So
Morgan has an important question, Tasha, and it's taking that every couple of hours. Is that with or without vodka?
With vodka, it's like every hour, okay? Every 10 minutes, you know, every 10 minutes or so. You'll be feeling really good by the end of an hour if you take it every 10 minutes.
And Hillbilly says the kids will sleep really well.
The kids will sleep really That was another thing. Like, if you're giving it to kids, you probably do not want to do that. Now, like, if I was in a, like, shift scenario and they were coughing a lot or they really was high anxiety and not feeling well, that might be something me personally might do, but you know, it's not something that I would regularly give a little one for sure.
No, that was a funny question.
They'll sleep good. They will sleep good.
Yes. When my brother's wife was over and her kid just would not sleep, no temperature, no earache, anything. And she throws herself on the sofa, of course, next to my dad, and she goes, I just don't know how to get him to sleep. I said, get him to sleep how I got his daddy to sleep, a little dribbles of vodka. And she was mortified. And she was just absolutely furious about it because she was a real uptight religious chick. And it was like, he was kidding. Okay. I mean, it was clearly, I fall out laughing, right? And I'm like 14 and I know it's a joke. And it was just crazy, you know? It's
you know, I'm a person of faith, as anybody that watches my channel knows. But I think there's a point where you can be too prudish. You know, you can be way too much of a prude. And, you know, I do believe that God created us with a sense of humor for a reason. So, yeah.
See, Fish's knows there's a time and a place for melatonin. Remember Benadryl? Right. And Tylenol for kids, for a fussy kid, there's nothing wrong. You've taken their temperature. You're not drugging a child or intentionally doing anything like that, but they're so uptight and miserable for hours. It's painful for you to watch them. And then just to get that, and then it's like, I mean, they're having some kind of reaction to something. And it's like, oh, and then because they're exhausted, you know.
Unfortunately, my granddaughter and I, now Benadryl does that to me. It makes me tired. But whenever I was younger, like the Actifed, the ingredients in Actifed, I don't know what all's in that, but I took that whenever I was younger for a day when my allergies were real bad, and I was up all night cleaning the kitchen because it just gave me a burst of energy. So my mom was like, heck, I'll give that to you every night if you keep my house.
The house will be, baseboards will be next, right?
That's right.
love it. Okay, and Hillbilly said, yeah, mothers used to give their teething babies vanilla before baby Orajel. It's bourbon. Yeah, because I
Yep.
make mine with either a bourbon or a vodka. Oh my God, when
Mm-hmm.
you get those Madagascar vanilla beans, oh
Mm-hmm.
my Lord. Then you make your own. I save the old little like vanilla bottles, that you buy, McCormick or
Uh,
something. And then I have to put a little mask in that says ours, but the flavor
oh,
difference is epic. So
really? I've never
yeah.
made my own. I would love to.
Oh, it's so good. It's a much more, I mean, vibrant flavor, more it tastes like vanilla should. So I had one of the sisters at my Kingdom Hall said, "Oh, I'd love to have some." She's a fabulous baker. She makes the best anything, whether it's pound cake with almonds or something like that, or an almond drizzle. So I gave her like one of the, I call it a jelly container, the little quilted things, so
Mm-hmm.
that I gave her some almonds, some lemon extract, and some vanilla. And I didn't
Mm.
realize that when she makes cookies, one of the reasons they're so good is she puts 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract in her batch of cookies.
Wow, that's a
Man.
lot of vanilla, but man, I bet it's good.
But when it's
Mm.
McCormick's, it's not. When it was mine, it was like, wow. She goes, her husband like comes out from the back office and is like, what's that fabulous smell? Are you making ice cream? And it made the cookies very pungent. So I said, I had no idea you put more than a teaspoon or a capful, of
Oh,
it. Yeah.
oh my goodness.
And it's just dead easy. But you got to leave. I always write 90 days on it. So you put it in like a quart jar with a lid. And Hillbilly said lid. She got lids today, not flash lids. I mean, Hillbilly
Woo!
Grasshopper is getting with it. And so I always use an old one. You save them for your dehydrated goods. And then every
Yeah.
once in a while, wiggle it around. But when you open it, it's like, oh, it'd be a great perfume.
Mm.
Oh, and Fishes says Advil works if they're older in pain. Benadryl is good for allergies, but it can shrink the brain. Like I need mine smaller, and it makes ADHD worse. Now I'm in South Carolina on the coast. People, there has been no Advil, and I like the little coated tablets in the store for 3 weeks. Not any grocery store, whether it's a Piggly Wiggly, an
Not
Aldi,
any,
whatever.
not generic or nothing, huh?
No, I don't like, I like Advil, and I'm gonna have dental work on the 31st and I need to take Advil. So I thought, well, I'm gonna get me a 200 container. I had to go in my bug out bag to get a thing of Advil. So then I
Oh,
ordered on Amazon. Oh yeah, it'll be here like August 21st. And then I get an email yesterday. We have to correct that. It won't be there till September 17th. Is that like the imaginary coin shortage? Remember, there was no coin
yeah.
shortage. The Treasury Department said it. People didn't want to touch coins because at that time in 2020, we thought
Oh, yeah. Now that they're doing that again, the imaginary coin shortage in our area
it's not
again.
real. And it was people were afraid it stuck to it, so we didn't want to give change. You know what I mean?
Well, I
So I
mean,
was like,
if
oh, now
somebody's
that
storing it and they're handling the receipt, it's still going to be on that. I mean, it's not. Oh,
it's
the
insane.
oh boy. Okay, yeah, we got to get off that subject because I'll get all ranted up.
But now
I'm.
they've gone for Advil, and I got a problem. Like I got my hour and a half deep tissue massage today. That requires 2 Advil. Okay, so I
Oh,
had.
yeah.
I'm like, holy crap! Listen, if the Advil, if I run out what I have and the one doesn't come, I'm gonna pop. Yeah, so
Mm,
it's not good.
mm.
See, Tiger's got vanilla making right now.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
best.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the military loves to experiment on an allergy. That's for sure,
Yeah,
Morgan. So
yeah, and
is it going to thicken while it's over there getting hot? Don't mean to sound dumb, but I've never made
no,
it.
it really isn't. I mean, it's going to reduce, but it's not going to thicken much,
Hey,
because it's
BC.
just water and berries. The natural sugar that's in the berries might thicken it some, but this is the first time I've made it, so. But I mean, it's super simple, so it's not anything that's going to be that difficult for
So you
anybody.
can't,
I mean, this is a super easy beginner recipe for sure for people.
can it be burned at this point?
Not really, and I mean, I've got it on pretty much not quite the lowest setting, but almost to the lowest setting. I'm just letting it simmer.
Okay.
That's all I'm
And
doing. I'm
have
just
you
letting it
smushed
simmer.
the berries with your smusher?
Yeah, about halfway through, I'll smush the berries.
Okay. So not yet.
Right, right. Oh, and I did forget to say, I do have a pair of gloves, disposable gloves, so that whenever the syrup does cool down some, I can wring out the berries in the cheesecloth whenever, wring out the juices from the berries and pulp. So, but yeah, that's basically, it's so easy. It's just such a
Would
super
it turn
simple
your
recipe.
hands purple if you didn't use the gloves?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Oh,
it's got what you call. Let me see what it's called here. The anthocyanins are what gives it the deep color that it has, and those anthocyanins are very, very. I mean, yeah, it'll paint your hands red for a while. It'll dye them really well.
what were the peas or the beans we snapped with our parents that everybody knew that we were country people, right? Because we go to school. Remember the purple whole
So
peas? Oh my
yeah,
God. It was a
yeah.
mess.
Hey BC, hey SOP, good to see y'all. Hi Farmer Son.
So they like knew we grew our own food so they could have elderberry hands, right?
Oh, that's awesome, Tiger. I didn't think about that. Adding some blueberries to it for some extra antioxidant kick. That's pretty
Ooh,
awesome.
what would that do to the flavor? Because blueberries are yummy too.
Oh, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Okay.
It'd just be different. But yeah, that'd be all right. It'd be like a mixed berry. I don't think there'd be anything wrong with that at all.
And how did you end up with an elderberry shrub or whatever it's called on your property?
I ordered basically the dormant stick, a twig, stuck it in the ground, and it
Oh,
came up. And it's taken about 3 to 4 years. Hey, SKS Hugo, it's taken about 4 years for me to get the amount of berries that I've gotten. But, really, depending on the area that you're at, it could have been more. So I had two twigs that I stuck in the ground, and they started growing. They were probably within the first year, they were probably 3.5, 4 foot tall.
holy
Just
cow.
from that, yeah, they grow really fast. So you want to plant them in an area, and they also start to spread. They have an underground root system that like crawls over and makes more. So we keep that trimmed back because of the area where we have them. But we're gonna in the spring. I was gonna send a bunch of people starts off of my elderberries, but I'm really needing to wait until spring whenever they first start coming back up. Because I'm probably going to cut them to the ground this year, and they will get just as big again. They grow really fast. So once they're established, they grow really, 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 really fast.
Don't feel like you're so wrong.
It's a bush, not a shrub, huh?
It's like flat. It's like, okay. Oh my God, she's so wrong for that. So, do deer eat it?
I
Have you
haven't
had
had
deer?
any issues with the deer out here, and we have a large deer population. We haven't had any issues with it. Maybe it's because like some of those berries are toxic until they are cooked. Like the
Oh,
little seeds in it have basically like a cyanide in it, like the seeds. So that's why you don't want to eat it raw. Yeah. Um,
now that's good to know because I thought I
yeah.
got lots of property. I just can't put more behind my big deer fence,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Oh, and can I tell y'all my celery drama? I have celery
What?
drama.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Celery drama. How does that happen?
I've been burgled. Okay, like your husband goes to the store and he buys you a head of commercial celery, right? And then you slice it off, and then you freeze. When you're gonna wash it, and then you soak it in water a little while, get a little root coming up through the top, and you go plant it in your greenhouse, which is a raised box 3 feet off the ground that
Mm-hmm.
Matthew, my husband, could build. Okay, don't get the man to build you a greenhouse because Matthew didn't take it out. Dorian didn't take it out. The Aquapocalypse of 2015 didn't take it out. That thing is there. So I plant it there and, I smush it in that beautiful pot and soil. And then I water it. The next week he gets me another. So I have 3. So I put that one out there and I have another one getting ready on my in a bowl in my kitchen. And so I go the next day to water what's in our little greenhouse, and it's basically red bell peppers and Amish paste and Romas. And over there, and my celery's gone. So I thought, wow, did it sink? Right? Because I mean, it's a 3-foot
Yeah.
plant box, and I dig around, it's gone. I got burgled. So I said, well, wow, what would do that? Now it could have been, like a deer never sticks his head in our greenhouse, and we close the door every night.
Yeah.
And there was nothing, I checked underneath it as something made a tunnel. And so 3 days later, I plant the other one. And then he's gone to the store, and now I have another one soaking. So I put it in there overnight, and I said, would you please put, Kevin is very good about putting a cage over something, right? To where raccoons can't eat your cantaloupes. So Vern makes me that, but he doesn't put it on it. The next day I go in there, it's gone. It went in there overnight. So now we're mad. So I go just put a stalk of celery in there, and he puts, Vern puts a rat trap. I'm talking the square kind that's big, right? It's got the big hook that comes over. It's gone. There is something gonna flap under my house like at 3 in the morning, go kerflap, 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 and walked off with it.
Oh my God.
I got burgled, and it walked off with it. So
you need a deer cam so you can set it up and see what in the world is going in there.
Yes. So I put my third and final celery in there, and then Vern put the cage over it, and my trail cam's in there. And I'm mad about it, okay? But it walked off with our freaking trap. The hell happened there? Who the hell's had that happen to before?
Now watch. Nothing's going to take this one because you got your trail cam.
Or if it does, when I see it, it's going to scare me so bad I'm never going in there again. I'm not sure. Would a rat do that if people had, we have marsh rats. Louisiana, we had the nutria rat, which is big as your head.
Yeah.
Right? It eats through the bottom of your metal trash can. You open it, it flies over your head. Okay, they fly, by the way, like a bat. Okay, they just jump that high. So I'm thinking, what is it going to be? And if I see it in the trail cam, am I ever going to make my mind not right? But I was burgled. I've been burgled 3 times. I'm on my 4th celery. So, has anyone had that happen in the side chat? Hey, Teresa loves Pims.
Hey, Teresa. All right, so this is already reduced down. Oh, by 2/3 probably.
Okay, so it's cooking down. See, I didn't get that whole thing.
It's a little thicker, but it's still pretty thin. And of course, it's hot too. It may thicken up after.
Yeah, don't burn your leg, girl.
It smells amazing with that clove and that cinnamon, and oh my gosh.
And Fishes said it could be a possum or a big old rat. Ugh. See, I could do the possum because I can take possum out easy, but rats, like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have 17 minutes to go. I've turned it all the way down on low since it's reduced it so much. Oh, man, Threads and Jars. Yeah, it sounds awesome that you live in Colorado. I wish I did. Yeah, okay. Nutria. Has anybody ever did anybody watch the Lone series this last season? This season, it was Legends, and they were in the Louisiana swamp, and the guys kept getting what's called nutria itch down on their junk. Like, it's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
See, when I grew up
from the feces of nutria.
Yeah, like rat poo anywhere. Okay, see, Fishes knows stuff. She said they epoxy cement squares down here to the bottom of those big tomcat bait traps. Now we know why. Creepy. Had no idea. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Angela.
The nutrients they used to let us, your dad take you out on Friday, right, with all your buddies. They set you up with your little projectile shooting thing. You can't say it's 5-letter word, right? But, and we would use flashlights, right? And so they're sitting in their lawn chairs, right? And we're shooting the mess at them because they tear up your levee, and your levee, breaks, gets holes in it, and it doesn't have to happen with Katrina. Now the sheriff's department does it in New Orleans, but back in the day, it was the Friday night activity. And sure enough, the people who were picking them up the next day on the other side, so they didn't get into the water, and that night right after we had all left. I mean, there were hundreds of us, right? The levee system is huge. We're getting very sick. And then we learned all kind of things about rat droppings. Remember why you don't sweep it, that sort of thing. So,
Right.
oh God. Well,
Mm.
yeah, I got one of those SOP, but you got to pump them up, and all the creatures like the rabbits hear it. I just operate with the old trap, like the cage, they go in one end, just throw something, then you get it out the other end. Because, of course, you're going to let them all go because you love things. Yeah, that's not how I roll. But anyway.
Yeah, that's not how I roll either.
If I'm going to catch it, I'm not trying to make it a pet, right? But I get that. Like you can go to Tractor Supply and get the one that can catch a raccoon. We get them so fat they can't turn around in it. But you have to have that front flap, and then you need the back one where you lit it up, because it is so unsafe to try and open that. If they're not dispatched, then you can get really hurt. And then that way I can shake them out. You know what I mean? It's scary. But yeah, that nutria stuff, they are the most evil, demonic looking thing. And then you see their little buck teeth and they look at you going, oh, it's terrible. Yeah, that was, and we, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, hey, that's kind of what I look like. I'm chunky and I've got these.
It's like, oh, it's terrible. Yeah. We used to watch it walk across the telephone pole wires. You know what I mean? And bet, okay, I'm going to say that third fat one's going down, right? Like right on Miss Margie's trash can.
Oh.
Have a heart. I use them in, I wouldn't hurt a cat. Have a heart. I use them in feral cat rescue. Yeah, that's certainly different. But yeah, I'm not catching me no nutria. Ugh, I don't even know if it's nutra or nutria, but we called it nutrias.
Oh my goodness. So there's a lot going on in the world right now. Not that I'm trying to stress everybody out, but you've got this stuff going on over in Afghanistan with the people trying to get out, our American citizens trying to get out. We've got wildfires and flooding and all kinds of stuff going on. It's just, man, my heart goes out to everybody. It's been rough.
Did you hear the defense secretary say that today that the U.S. military doesn't have the capability to evacuate many people? Really? Sorry.
What?
Really? Oh, yeah? I think that would give them the glow butt, and it's not true. Australia is beside themselves. There's 40,000 contractors over there. And remember, Vern was a contractor with the Department of Defense and was in Kuwait and Baghdad. And the one thing that, because he was a contractor and the big corporation he worked for, remember there was a thing called Blackwater back in the day. You get Blackwater. When the Kuwait thing happened, a lot of journalists in Kuwait wrote, and they were females, that half of the Kuwaiti men were leaving in abayas, crossing into Saudi Arabia. So as the contractors, as a group, we made our own force to where they would get them to the border. You know what I'm saying? Whether they were wearing abayas and do it. And that is what's outrageous. The Australians are so upset about their contractors and their citizens who got no heads up. They are literally running from house to house looking for refuge. Absolutely outrageous.
It's terrifying.
Absolutely outrageous.
And I mean, you're dealing with, Christians over there, because those are the first people they're going to come for. The interpreters from different countries who, or from their country, who helped countries like Britain, the U.S., places like that now they're like number one on their hit list or pretty close to it.
Yes.
So, and they should have before they let out publicly that anything was going to happen like that, they should have sent out warning to U.S. citizens too, and political people that they needed to get out first, and done that as quietly as they possibly could have before they gave wind to the few powers that be over there that they were going to pull out.
And what's outrageous, when you do not have a protection force for your contractors, they get that intel ahead of time. Remember, the date was 9/11, which infuriated Americans, right, to pick that date. But the fact that people are left there, we're talking truck drivers, we are talking people who work electrical, who are trying to rebuild something exactly like they did in Baghdad and all over Iraq. And Australian people are almost hysterical. And something I appreciated yesterday was Patriot Nurse had a couple thousand people in her chat room, doing prayer, and mentioning every
Yeah.
province there.
Yeah, that's what I was
Because
doing last night. I was praying, and she may end up doing it again tonight. I will be there.
Mhm.
I think it's
Yep.
very powerful the way she was reading through Psalms and then saying specific prayers regarding each of that. Very powerful. I fell asleep to that actually because I missed it live. So I started watching it about 4 this morning, and
Good.
I'd already taken my nighttime meds. So about an hour and a half later, I was asleep, but I at least got through the provinces and stuff like that.
Good. I appreciated how she isn't it called intercessory prayer, or it's where
Yes.
you put
You're
yourself in their
interceding.
feet.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, because I can't
Yeah.
say it because I have a lift.
Yeah.
And BC said, truck drivers, we prefer transportologists. Remember the fella who was people went over to work in Iraq at the behest of W, right? That if you want to serve your country, you can go. And he went. And remember, the economy in America was crap. And that
Right.
was one of the reasons my husband went. You go make some mad money, you get $2 million worth of life insurance. Okay. And you feel like you're doing something. I can help rebuild electrical or water, right? And he was kidnapped and he escaped himself. And who did he run into? He ran into a group of Australian military who absolutely protected him and got him where he needed to go. But I have never, ever in my life heard someone in the military say, we don't have the capability to remove lots of people. No one can get to an airport, people. Okay. That's not how it's done. But the fact that listen, it's frightening. And we look like absolute fools. But the fact that there are contractors and their wives and their people over there and they're left behind, whatever happened to no one left behind. Oh, wait, I know, Benghazi. Okay. Just as a clue, here was our sign. And just for reflection, there's a reason my husband's no longer out of the country and we won't travel out of the country because we were there at a different time. But corporations can protect their people and they don't need the military to come get them. But when you get a text or you get a call or you're dormant because you have to live in American housing there or expat housing, when you get a note that says go now, you don't go, oh no, I'm going to finish packing.
Yeah,
right?
no.
So, yeah, they have points and they drilled them, and it would be you drop it all and run, and because then that force that the wives and the husbands are paying for is there for them. And this is an absolute outrage that I just pray that some of these corporations had something like that in place, because it's just, I mean, I struggled to sleep last night because I thought it could be us,
Oh, yeah, and you saw how quickly that force just went right back in, and like Patriot Nurse said, like these are people that are set to put in their religious energy 4 times a day. Okay.
Yes.
And we do good a lot of times to pray once or twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
So
remember
I went ahead and turned off my timer because this is reduced down so much so that I don't want to run out of water.
Okay, so it reduced quicker than 40 minutes.
Yeah, because this is just such a small batch. Y'all, this is such a small, I'm going to lift this up so you can see my face here.
Okay.
But it's such a small batch. So now I'm just going to let this cool, okay? And just before we go off air, I will add my honey, but I'm going to let this cool down for a few minutes first. Yeah, but I've turned my heat off. And, oh my gosh, y'all, it smells so good. Just like that. So.
And if you were adding vodka, you would wait till it was cooled also to not lose the alcohol?
Right, or at least just above room temperature if you wanted to. But you just don't want it to be
wasted.
You don't want it to be basically cooking out the alcohol, because that's going to kind of defeat the purpose of having it in there in the first place, which is to make it shelf stable. So,
okay, here we go. It's the defense secretary's comes after the U.S. Embassy issued a dire warning to U.S. citizens that it cannot ensure safe passage to the airport. No kidding.
yeah.
Ain't nobody counted on that. And it's the Pentagon who said it does not currently have the capability to safely escort Americans in Kabul to the airport for evacuation. That's got to thrill the military, right? We don't have the capability. Let me tell you
Well,
something.
and I was hearing that they were saying that once you got to the airport that you should be safe, but that's not. I'm here. I was hearing reports of that on mainstream media, but that is definitely not the case by what the videos I saw. I watched BBC News, which I'm not saying they're not biased in some sense, also, but hey Stephanie, but what they were showing was definitely not safe at all. And then we have people on CBN News today. I was watching that, and there was one man that was an interpreter for British Columbia. It is no joke. Okay, he interpreted for them all this time, and was on the hit list. Okay, of these terrorists, and then he just finally gets word that he's going to be able to go over to Britain. And what happens? The very next day is when the Taliban takes over. So then now they can't. Now he can't. Now he's basically going from house to house. He's hiding and praying for his life. Basically.
And within 6 hours, nobody could get to the airport. We've always all known this. We've been lied to for years, but those of us who know people in the military and have common sense knew that they would never defend themselves, ever. That this was just a matter of time. This was a fruitless effort. But when you leave people behind, and what this has done to our allies, and just imagine, this is unimaginable, but this is something that's bothered me about the video from the thing. You notice lots of the Afghan men running, were clapping and pumping their arms. They're running down the tarmac to escort the last U.S. aircraft out of there. Yet they all want to interpret it different. Okay, they're thrilled. And they all leave their women, just like the same ones who rushed into Europe, knocking down fences and going in with their cell phones that somebody's paying for, their iPhones, right? But they leave their women behind. Now, all the doctors and the nurses of Afghanistan are stuck back in their houses again, just like they were before. We all knew this was fruitless, but this is infuriating. And what happened to if we left any kind of military surplus, we'll call it, behind? We used to blow it up. Oh, no. During the administration before Trump, they were told to leave all weapons in their trucks, keys in the ignition. It's all insane. But this is an insult to our military. And if I watch one more live chat who goes, oh, if they bring back the draft, I don't think Americans have what it takes. You ever underestimate the fighting spirit of an American soldier, a Navy man or Marine, you're a bleep and a mentally ill, spastic dumbass. And I'm just going to say that. Don't ever underestimate the fighting spirit of them. Okay? That crap makes me crazy.
Especially those that live in the heartland.
Those
that live in the heartland. We're going to do whatever it takes for our freedom.
Yes.
And that's just how it is.
But it makes me so mad when they say America dead. These are American newsmen saying Americans don't have that spirit to fight. Really? Anybody watch Benghazi? Anybody read the facts of the people who were there? Do not ever underestimate the fighting spirit of the American soldier, ever. Okay? That stuff infuriates me. I had to unsub 2 channels because I ever hear that again, my head will explode. Nobody puts the uniform on to sit around and be a sissy. It's no different than the Iraqis, right? We go rolling in. Saddam rolled up the ring road to Kuwait, because they're not going to put up a fight. They're a bunch of rich people who get an oil revenue. Their men are very sissified, and they're just religious. And the same thing here. They weren't going to fight. Remember? And the propaganda minister in Baghdad was saying Americans are not at the airport. Yeah, we've been there 9 hours, you know? Okay, the snowflakes. SOP says the news is talking about the snowflakes, not the real Americans, because I ain't a soldier, but I'll pop a cap in your ass in 2 hours. Okay, but the American soldier, to say that about him is outrageous. I don't care if you're a private or a colonel, not a woke general, okay, who hadn't fought in 100 years. But the rest of it is like, wow, how dare you? We'll hold down our own home front, okay?
Yeah.
Those of us who store food and have projectiles, right? But man, so this has been rough. And to watch the Australian news and Australian friends beside themselves.
Oh yeah, and there's so much going on in South Africa too. I mean, I have friends all over the world, and my heart just goes out to them, and I'm praying for them. I'm just mashing down these berries, basically, and at this point, you're supposed to just like mash down the berries and let it steep 1 hour, or until it's almost completely cooled, and then you can add your honey and your alcohol if you choose to add your alcohol. After you strain it. But we're more pressed for time, so I'm just starting to cool this down enough to add my honey.
See, this is why we can't do live stream cooking things, because I pop off. Oh, he's got something epic going, and we've got the worst news in the world. And I like what Teresa and Fishes is talking about in the side chat, and it's one of the reasons we prepare, remember? We prepare that there can come a time in the Lord's day that we need to gather together in a quiet, dark room, and we'll be surrounded by our goods. That would be our 5-gallon buckets with gamma lids of flour, right? And just like Teresa put in there, right? The guerrilla troops left them alone because they said, we saw they had an army of big men with heavy artillery around their homes, so we left. And Jehovah, God, can actually make you not even visible to them. And that's why I think the prayer is so important for this, because I refuse to believe that other corporations the employees themselves did not have a force and a contingency plan for this. They're not going to the airport. That's not the only way out of the country. And that's not the only place to land a plane. So I'm hoping that, because you have to protect yourself abroad. All you need is a way out. And you don't count on the military coming getting you, okay? Because I don't think they're in charge of me. I get fired up, hillbilly. I get the red ass. I get the glow butt. And it hurts my feelers. And my daddy was a colonel in the U.S. Army in Korea and Japan. Saw my sister when she was 3.5 years old, right? Didn't see her before then. And we know what the fighting spirit of the American soldier is. Whether it's a man, woman, I don't care. A banana pepper, a turban hat, I don't care. But they put that uniform on, they care. Because there's millions of us, the majority of us still love this country. And, freedom can be lost, and we're watching it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, hillbillies from a long line of veterans, Yes, exactly. Some didn't come home. And the treasure that was lost in Afghanistan in a pile of rocks.
Yeah.
Nobody even does heroin anymore, right? It's all the fake fentanyl. I mean, so their export crop of poppies, people can't even get heroin anymore. It's all fentanyl. It's just disgusting. Look, see, fishes can stick with the subject. How's it tasting, Tasha? I forgot what they were
not
doing.
Particularly good, because it's not sweet right at this point.
Okay. Oh, because the honey's not in there?
Right.
Okay.
I'm letting it cool down, and then I'm going to strain it. But again, I would have just let this sit for close to an hour until it cooled. And of course, this is a particularly small batch, so it will cool a lot more quickly. But I'm just stirring it to kind of increase that cooling. Because I would just go ahead and strain it now, but I kind of need to put the gloves on and wring it, and I don't want to burn my hands. That doesn't sound pleasant to me today, okay?
Or set the pot on your leg.
Yeah.
She did 1 cup of elderberries. I remember that, Stephanie. She was doing a small batch.
Okay. So here, I'll go back over the recipe again while I'm letting this cool. Okay, so on this was a really small batch. It's 1 cup of elderberries. You can do them fresh, dried, or frozen. 2 cups of water. 1.5 teaspoons of dried ginger, or you can grate some fresh ginger and put in there. Of course, you'd have to do more fresh ginger than the dried. But I did candied ginger because that's what I had. So I just took a big old chunk of candied ginger and broke it up into pieces and put it in there. I did 1 cinnamon stick that I broke in half. And then after this cools down, we will add raw organic honey. If you're cooking for little ones to use this, you would want to do agave or maple syrup. Or you can make this with sugar and just add it in with the water at the beginning and add more water. Okay, you'll want to add more water to that then. And then if you want this shelf stable while keeping the raw honey in there, you want to add a 1/2 cup of brandy or vodka to this, which I'm not going to do this time. I'm just going to put this in the fridge. So, all right. I think I got this cooled down enough to where I can strain it. So, I'm sorry for the big butt.
Oh no, Uncle Al, you're half blind, your face is swollen. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Uncle Al's here. I've been praying for you, mister.
He stopped by to say hello. Bless your heart.
Thank you for stopping in, mister. I've been praying for you. I love you. I hope everything went okay on your surgery today.
That's why. Okay.
Thick. You can see it's real clumpy. Most of the
Yes.
moisture is out of this. All right. Now I'm just going to lift this up and press.
Because she's got it's cheesecloth. She forgot to put herself back on present, but she's got a sieve with cheesecloth.
Thank you, Mouse.
That's I derailed the whole chat. It's my fault.
There. Now you really can see but you can see I'm just pressing this down.
Thank you for presenting.
You're welcome. This is not even going to make a 1/4 cup of liquid. And then you add your honey to it. Yeah, that's how much it cooked down.
Wow.
I got this recipe, by the way, from Mountain Rose Herbs.
Mountain Road, ROAD?
Rose, ROSE.
Herbs, HERBS?
Yeah, Mountain Rose Herbs.
Okay.
And I just cut the recipe in half.
And fishes don't just get cheesecloth like from Napa, okay? You got to get food grade cheesecloth. I went to a friend's house to help her do jam. And I was like, where did you get this cheesecloth, right? It was all stringy and kind of yellow. And she goes, oh, my husband got it. So I'm like, where'd you get it? He goes, Auto Supply. And I was like, oh my God, we can't use it.
So I'm wringing out the juices because you're getting another lot of good amount of juices even after you just squeeze the heck out of it, man.
Look at it. Oh, God, like squeezing a cow udder. Look, whoa. Darn. Tasha, that is getting hella stuff out of there.
Yeah.
I love to squish things like that.
Oh, me too. All right.
The best price I've had.
I've probably got almost a 1/2 cup, so that got a lot more out.
That is fantastic.
Now this is cooled down enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to add my honey. And this is raw, unfiltered honey. And again, this is 1/2 cup. I've got it in a 2/3 cup measure, but I only have 1/2 cup in here. All right. And I'm going to stir it in. And this is where you would add your alcohol as well. You just stir it until the honey's dissolved. Oh, yeah, this is beautiful.
See, Teresa gets it, Auto Supply cheesecloth. And I was like, that's the craziest thing. And they both looked at me like I had two heads. So I was like, seriously. So we had to have to talk about food grade stuff, right? Like if you can save the jar that had food in it from Prego or something, that's food safe. But yeah, cheesecloth is pretty epic. And the best price I've ever found and the best quality is on Amazon. So even to this day, after 2020, I can still get the best large amount of it because I ain't skimping on that when I'm straining stuff, like my broths and things. I wouldn't on that elderberry either because it's so beneficial for you. I'd use the best also.
And again, I just poured this into a sanitized jar.
Right. So that is
There you
half
go.
a pint.
Not quite, but yeah.
Wow.
Pretty good.
That is
All right.
beautiful.
I'm going to do a little taste test with the honey in it. Let me get a spoon.
Okay. And some people then water bath it for 10 minutes, don't they? So they don't have to keep it in their refrigerator, I guess. But
right, but if you water bath it, it kills off the good stuff that's in honey. So,
okay, now that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take a little bit and see what it tastes like.
Because I'm thinking, who wouldn't have room in their refrigerator for a pint of that? It just don't make no sense to me.
This is good, y'all. This is so good. I think I would have added even more orange and clove to this and cinnamon.
Oh, you like
I can taste them, but it's really good. It is so good, y'all. All right.
You did
Well, good. Whenever they're ready, you can make it. But yeah, that's beautiful. Look how dark and rich that is.
So you did candied ginger and something else.
Okay, so 1 cup elderberry. You can do it dried, frozen, or you can do it fresh. To 2 cups of water. So there's a 1-to-2 ratio here. 2 cups of water.
Okay.
You can
1
do
cup of
1.5.
2 cups of water.
You can do 1.5 teaspoons dried ginger, but I did a big chunk of candied ginger, which is about the, I could have put a little more ginger in there because I'm really not tasting the ginger much. So 1.5 teaspoons dried ginger, a cinnamon stick.
Oh yeah, broken half.
Yeah, I broke it in half. It doesn't say to do that, but I did. I just wanted it to cover more surface area and stuff in there, so I broke it in half. And then you can also do powdered cinnamon if you want, but I wanted the cinnamon stick. And then after that cools down enough, so what you're going to do is you combine your water, your herbs, and your berries. You bring all of that to a boil. You reduce heat, simmer 30 to 40 minutes, which I cut it off in about 35 minutes because my water was almost completely gone at that point. And then at that point, you're supposed to steep for 1 hour, but for the sake of time, I couldn't do that. So I started and cooled it. When it gets cooled down enough that you can handle it, go ahead and strain everything out in your strainer, wring out your stuff, and then you can add your honey and your vodka. But you don't want to add the vodka or the honey whenever the liquid is real hot because it will end up cooking out the beneficial properties. So, and then your syrup, then you pour it in your sterilized jar, and there you go. That is beautiful stuff. So,
and you went from harvest to making it. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Pretty great.
Yes. Thanks for sharing how you did it too.
Yeah. I think next time though, I'm not tasting enough of the cinnamon or the clove or the ginger. So I think or the orange peel. So I think I'll add a little bit more next time. But this was just a good base recipe. Like I said, this is the first time I've made it. So I wanted to test this first and see because I didn't want anything to be too overwhelming in there. But yeah, I could definitely add a few more cloves of clove. Definitely probably another thing of ginger in there. But of course I didn't use the powder. Now, if you use the powdered, it's going to be a lot stronger, or if you use fresh grated ginger. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hey, Josh, good to see you.
So that's one of the joys of you grew it yourself, so you know what you're using is
Yeah,
authentic.
I know I
And then
didn't spray anything on there, nothing
yeah.
toxic going into it. Now you need to do your research on your elderberries. You need to make sure it's like a dark elderberry, like a black elderberry, like a Sambucus elderberry,
Hmm.
um, and use that, because that's what's going to be the most beneficial for you, less likely with the toxicity, because I believe from the way I read it, the greener the berry, the more toxic it is. So you want the dark, you want the one with the rich antioxidants anyway. So you want the dark berries. So I ordered from a reliable source. I can't remember. It was one of those seed catalogs I get in at the beginning of at the beginning of each season.
Yes.
Yeah, Sambucus, Nigeria. So, order that way. Excuse me. And it took me a few years to get to the point where I had a really good amount. But even just a small amount, you saw 1 cup of elderberries, fresh elderberries, made this. So that's pretty great. That's pretty great return. So,
Right.
and I harvested about 10 times that. So I've got probably 10 to 12 cups of elderberry. So I could have done this 10 times over,
Yes.
So yeah. But I would definitely highly suggest, if you're harvesting your fresh elderberry, go ahead and either dehydrate it or freeze it. I think freezing would probably be better, because a lot of your good properties kind of evaporates out of stuff whenever you dehydrate. So
Yeah.
I would say freeze it and then just pull it out and make it in your small batches, or make it in the large batches and can it. But if you do that, you're losing your beneficial properties of your raw
Yeah.
honey. And of course, again, if you're giving this to somebody that's little, under the age of 1, you need to be using something like agave or maple instead of raw honey. Okay.
Gotcha.
Because you don't want to be causing them to have botulism.
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen. So.
Mm-mm. And this makes sense that you can freeze them, because I
Mhm.
like that you could have tasted this and said, oh, next time for the next batch I make, I want more cinnamon and ginger, or in
Yeah.
a way that your kids would like it. Because last year, so
Yeah.
many people were taking it every day for the
Yeah.
health benefit they perceive it to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, I did. I took it every day through the season, and my husband got the coof, but I was
Mm,
taking the elderberry gummies at that time, and
mm.
if I got it, it wasn't very strong. And I'm not saying that this is what did that. I'm not making any medical
No.
claims like that, but I think it did help boost my system to where I had more of a fighting
Mm.
chance to fight off stuff. So, yeah, I definitely normally, like, if you're going to order in your elderberry stuff, like if you're not going to make your own syrup, like you can order dried elderberries from Mountain Rose Herbs or another place like that, and make this just the same way. You can you might have a neighbor or a friend who has elderberry on their property. It grows wild in a lot of the states in the US. So you might as well check and just see. Why not? If you have Facebook or something like that, put it out there, put the feelers out there, text your friends and family, ask them, do you have elderberry that grow on your property? If so, would it be okay for me to harvest it? Most people don't mess with it. So we've become a pretty complacent society where a lot of people won't take the time to do this, but to me, it's worth it, and
Right.
it's free with all of the
Mhm.
health benefits that it offers. And
Yes.
again, with the elderberries, they have antioxidants, vitamin C, dietary fiber, phenolic acids that are dietary phytochemicals that absorb through the gut, through the intestinal wall, and they have flavanols and anthocyanins. Clove is why I chose it, is it has antioxidants, fiber, vitamins such as manganese and vitamin K. Ginger has gingerol, Gingerol. If you look that up, awesome. It's really awesome. Lipids, vitamin C, magnesium, and terpenes. So you look up the properties of each of those things, like come back and rewatch this video, fast forward to the spot or whatever, and write all of these things down and look up the health benefits of those. Okay, because I'm not going to make medical claims here, but look up the health benefits of those and you'll understand why I put these in here. No, it's really not a sticky pan fuzz because there was no sugar other than the natural sugars involved in that. So this pan is not sticky at all. And so, yeah, it was really, really, really easy. All right, well, you go.
Let me ask a question quick, Tasha. Like Fishes is talking about the gummies too. I don't eat gummies because I'm afraid it'll pull out an old filling. I'm 100 years old, right?
Right.
Does the gummy have to be full of sugar and super gooey on chewing? Like I think of a kid's gummy. That's what I think of.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty sugary, and a lot of gummies have gelatin, although some don't. I have some Sambucol that do not have gelatin in it. So if you are somebody who is vegan or something like that, you might not want the gelatin because you know what gelatin's made from marrow.
Oh, okay.
So, but the gummies I have in there, even though they're gummies, they don't have gelatin in them. I don't know how they caused it to bind. But you can also make your own homemade gummies using your own syrup. You can look up that and do that as well if your kids like it better taken like that. So there are so many options, and like you can add whatever you want into this, guys, that you know, for whatever health benefits or flavorings or whatever. Like I could have put some vanilla in here towards the end. You can do whatever you want and make it your own. And it's so well worth it. And I think it's just going to get better the longer it sits. So anyways, well, thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate each of y'all. I love you. God loves you. Remember to be praying for all of the people that are going through so much. Our Miss Sandra, she's been having a hard time resting because of the storms hitting her area in Florida. Oh. So she's been worried a bit because there's been tornado warnings and stuff like that in her area. There are people with the wildfires, Australia, South Africa, Afghanistan. We just have brothers and sisters all over the world that we need to be praying for, guys. All right. I love y'all. If you ever need prayer, you know you can email me at cllmecrzy at gmail.com. That's call me crazy, but with no A's in it, at gmail.com. All right. I love y'all. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. And God bless, guys. And remember to prep for it. Prep for it all. All right.
Good night, Teresa.
Bye, guys.